Okay, here's a very short video about an important thing that can scare a lot of people. It's about the concept of losing your mind. In popular language, we often talk about, I'm afraid I'm going to lose my mind. Very often what people think about then is so-called schizophrenia, which in my opinion is a very vague and imprecise term. Usually what we think of as losing one's mind is that either you hear voices that are talking to you, very much like when you're talking to yourself in your thoughts, or you're remembering what somebody said to you, but it sounds more real. That's one of the things that we normally associate with losing your mind. Another thing that we associate with losing your mind is overvalued thoughts. That means thoughts that you're very sure are correct, but a lot of other people don't think they're correct, so-called delusions. These are the two things that we name madness, craziness, or losing your mind. The problem is that some people, especially people who are very careful, very perfectionistic, very conscientious, and very concerned about, for instance, cleanliness, or very afraid of electrical contacts, fire in the house, things like that, what we call OCD, they might take this a bit too literally. They might say, I'm so afraid I'm going to lose my mind. I had some very strange dreams last night, or yesterday I felt very weird, so now I think I'm going to lose my mind. And they can mean it quite literally, that they think they're going to lose their mind, they're not going to find back to the mind that they had before. Okay, so now we're going to talk about it as you. You may be afraid of losing your mind. We can all be afraid of losing our minds, but the problem is that you cannot really lose your mind. You can have strange ideas, but it will still be you, and you can change your strange ideas. Hearing voices is much more normal than we think. A study done in Norway, in Bergen to be precise, found that 5% of the population hear voices on a daily basis. But 4 of these 5% had absolutely no problems with it. Approximately 1% of the population hear voices and they think it is bothersome. Now, hearing voices is an interesting concept because we can all hear our thoughts if we just listen. We talk to ourselves all the time, and it's absolutely no problem to replay the voice of somebody else saying something. We can even construct a new sentence with our father's voice, our mother's voice, our teacher's voice, etc. It's not a problem, we all have the capacity. It's just that some people, at some times in their lives, or sometimes they have it as their talent, is that they can actually hear these things much more clearly than we do. And all people have the capacity to get intrusive thoughts. That means thoughts that come without us really wanting to have the thought. It just pops into your mind. This is something that all people have, and it can be very bothersome. It can make people really afraid, especially if they get violent thoughts. Now, luckily, research has shown that violent thoughts are quite normal. That you can get the thought that, oh, I could cut off my finger with this knife, or I could stab my children with this knife, or sometimes people get horrible images of decapitated bodies and things like that in their mind. But all people have these. It's when you think, oh, I'm so afraid of these thoughts, I'm so afraid I'm going to go crazy, I'm so afraid I'm going to lose my mind, and it will be just filled with these kind of thoughts all the time. That's when you get a problem. It's not going to happen. People don't lose their mind like that. The worst thing that can happen is that you can have some overvalued ideas for a while. It's difficult to get out of them, but certainly with therapy, anything is possible. Even the most crazy person, so to speak, can be helped with psychotherapy. Usually, it will only help very temporarily to take a drug for it, and often it makes it worse. Most drugs that can calm you down can also give you very weird dreams. For instance, Xanax, all the antidepressants, they can give you very weird dreams and weird thoughts at times. So if you're on these medications, don't stop abruptly. You have to stop very, very slowly over months if you're going to stop. But you can know that many of these medications, they give you very strange thoughts and can make you feel that you're losing your mind, but you're not going to lose it. You can have strange ideas for a while, but you're still you. You're not going to be forever lost in a dream world or something like that. That's a totally unrealistic fear. So don't worry about it. It's a typical OCD symptom. OCD is an anxiety disorder that is very treatable with exposure therapy, and don't have to be afraid. Actually, the therapy for this would be, okay, try to make yourself go crazy. Try as hard as you can to make yourself go crazy. Do all the things that you think will make yourself go crazy, and finally you will see that it doesn't happen, and then you might relax a little bit about it. But you can also take my word for it. I've been a psychologist for 25 years now, and still haven't seen a single person lose their mind. You're always yourself. You can have strange ideas from time to time, but you're always going to be yourself. So don't worry, be happy.